Surabaya is often celebrated as the city of heroes in Indonesia, thanks to its role in numerous historic battles against colonizers. But Surabaya's history isn't just about heroic acts. It also has a darker side, filled with murders and infamous criminals. One of them involves Mami Rose, a brothel owner in Doly Alley. This case shows just how far a woman can go when pushed to the edge, driven by her relentless need to protect those she cares about. This case sent shockwaves through the nation, revealing the darker side of Surabaya's underworld. Let's dive right in. This chilling tale unfolds in Doly Alley. Doly Alley was notorious as one of Indonesia's most infamous red light districts. While many knew it for the brothels that lined the streets, its history is more complex than meets the eye. It actually began as a Chinese graveyard, before evolving into the bustling, seedy area it became known for. At the heart of Doly Alley's rise was a Dutch woman named Doly van der Mart, the first to run a brothel there, hence the name Doly Alley. Initially, Doly's brothel catered to Dutch soldiers stationed in Surabaya. But as time passed, local men became curious, and soon her business boomed. People said that as soon as you stepped into the alley, all you could think of was Doly's thriving enterprise. Food vendors and trinket sellers popped up, and new brothels followed. One of those who joined the business was a woman named Sumiarsi, known in Doly Alley as Mami Rose. Born in the peaceful town of Jombang on September 28, 1948, little is known about her early life or background. But one thing stood out, her love for roses, which earned her the nickname. Mami Rose's journey began when she left for Jakarta as a young adult searching for work. She started as a clerk in a store, but quickly realized the pay wouldn't cut it. When someone suggested she try working at a bar, she took the leap and became hostess in the bustling Angkol area. Mami Rose's charm made her a hit with wealthy and high-ranking men who frequented the bar. Yet despite her success, she longed for something more, someone to settle down with. Mami Rose's wish for a stable life came true when she married Jais Adi Praitno, or simply Prayit, a widower from Malang, East Java with children of his own. Despite his past, Mami Rose was undeterred, and they soon moved back to Surabaya to settle down as a family. However, with no source of income, Mami Rose needed to find a way to contribute. As a married woman now, her former life as a hostess was no longer an option. Given her experience in the entertainment business, she decided to open her own brothel in Doly Alley, the infamous red light district. In 1975, the Happy Home was born. Like many brothels, it was unclear where Mami Rose sourced her workers. Some said the girls showed up looking for work, while others whispered rumors of them being sold into the business. Either way, Mami Rose took these women under her wing, training them and running her brothel as its matriarch, or Big Mama. Happy Home quickly gained popularity, thanks in large part to the beauty of its workers. Men flocked to the brothel, many becoming regulars. To up her game, Mami Rose added a minibar and live dangdut music, making the experience even more enticing. With the military base nearby, the brothel attracted high-ranking officials and military men, and money began pouring in. Before long, Happy Home became one of the most successful brothels in Doly Alley. Among the regulars was Lieutenant Colonel Purwanto, the primary head of the Navy Cooperative in Surabaya. Initially, Purwanto was just another customer, enjoying the services Happy Home provided, but over time, his interest grew beyond pleasure. He began talking more with Mami Rose, and their relationship deepened, not just as companions, but also as business partners. Mami Rose also viewed him as a protector of her business, which operated in the dangerous world of the red light district. Seeing how profitable Mami Rose's brothel business was, Purwanto saw an opportunity. He invited her to partner with him and soon opened a new brothel, Sumber Rejeki. Recognizing Mami Rose's expertise, he entrusted her with managing the entire operation. They agreed that Mami Rose would deposit 20 million rupiah each month as her share of the profits. If she ever missed a payment, the shortfall would be considered debt, with interest piling up over time. At first, things ran smoothly. The brothel, staffed with many women from Happy Home, was busy with visitors and the payments to Purwanto flowed in regularly. But like any business, there were ups and downs. There were quiet periods, like when the South Surabaya police launched a raid following a report of a kidnapped minor being sold to one of the brothels in Doly Alley. Ramadan, too, saw a significant drop in clients as the district grew quiet during the holy month. Despite these challenges, Purwanto wasn't concerned about the dips in business and continued to demand his 20 million rupiah monthly, eventually raising it to 30 million rupiah. When Mami Rose and her family couldn't meet the payments on time, Purwanto's attitude changed dramatically. Purwanto showed no leniency and resorted to violence whenever she failed to meet the financial obligations. Mami Rose recalled harrowing incidents where he would spit on her, pour drinks over her, and kick her with his boots until she bled. Her husband, Prayit, wasn't spared either. He was brutally beaten with the butt of a gun. Their son, Sugeng, also faced serious consequences, finding himself locked up in a Marine headquarters prison, all because of the delayed payments. These violent encounters fueled Mami Rose's growing resentment and hatred towards Purwanto. The breaking point came when Purwanto made a disturbing demand. He wanted Rose May Wati, Mami Rose's 15-year-old daughter. Wati was being cared for by her grandmother in Jombang. She was still in junior high school at the time, but she quickly caught Purwanto's eye, despite the fact that he was already married with 3 children. He made an appalling offer to Mami Rose. He would forgive her debt if he could use Wati. Furious and protective of her daughter, Mami Rose outright rejected the sick offer. To protect her daughter Wati from Purwanto's increasing obsession, Mami Rose introduced her to Sergeant Adi Saputro, a newly graduated police officer assigned to the Kesamban police in Jombang. The two quickly got married in late 1986, which only enraged Purwanto even more. Furious about losing Wati, Purwanto's harassment toward Mami Rose's family escalated. He sent men to ransack Happy Home and beat up the staff. Even though Wati was married off, Purwanto still demanded her, saying she should be used to pay off the debt from the brothel business. Purwanto's audacity and violence finally pushed Mami Rose and her family to their limit. They realized that words wouldn't stop him, so they decided to take matters into their own hands. But this time, they would use violence. On August 12, 1988, Mami Rose hatched a plan to kill Purwanto. She enlisted her husband Prayit, her son Sugeng, their employee Daim, and her son-in-law Adi Saputro to carry out the deadly plot. The next morning, the group arrived at Purwanto's house in Surabaya around 10 a.m. Armed with an iron pestle, they knocked on the door, and Purwanto welcomed them in, thinking it was just a regular visit. His 2 younger sons, Bismoko and Budi Prasetya, were playing outside, while his pregnant wife, Sunarsi, was cooking in the kitchen. His eldest son, Haryo Abrianto, was away at school, leaving the living room quiet. Once inside, the group attacked. Sugeng hit Purwanto in the back of the head with a pistol, but Purwanto, being a Marine officer, fought back. He put up a fierce struggle, but the group overpowered him. The autopsy later revealed that Purwanto had bruises all over his body and several broken ribs. Eventually, they beat him to death and dragged his body into the garage. Meanwhile, Purwanto's children, still playing outside, were unaware of what had just happened to their father. But the attackers didn't stop there. They brutally killed both Bismoko and young Budi, showing no mercy even to the youngest child. Sunarsi, hearing the commotion, rushed into the garage with her niece, Sumaryatun. They were immediately met by Adi and Sugeng, who strangled Sunarsi while Daim took care of Sumaryatun. Within minutes, the entire family was dead. The group then loaded the bodies into Purwanto's Daihatsu Taft SUV and drove to a ravine in Songoriti village, Batu, where they dumped the bodies, hoping to erase all evidence of their crime. But it didn't take long for the bodies to be discovered, sending shockwaves through the community. The local community quickly reported the sight of the abandoned vehicle and the gruesome discovery inside. The brutality of the murders horrified everyone, and suspicion quickly turned toward Mami Rose and her accomplices. They were soon arrested and charged with the gruesome killings. The news of the murders shook Doly Alley and the entire city of Surabaya. The infamous red light district was now not only known for its seedy businesses, but also for one of the city's most shocking and bloody crimes. In February 1989, the Surabaya District Court handed down the final sentences for those involved in the brutal murders. Mami Rose, also known as Sumiarsi, was sentenced to death in February 1989 for masterminding the murders. Her husband Prayit was also sentenced to death for his involvement. Their son Sugeng and their son-in-law Adisaputro, a police officer, were also convicted for their roles in the crime, with both receiving death sentences as well. Daim, an employee of Mami Rose, and Nanok, Prayit's son from a previous marriage, were given life sentences for their participation. Over the years, several appeals were filed, but all were rejected, and the sentences were upheld. Adisaputro was the first to be executed by firing squad in December 1992. As for Prayit, Mami Rose's husband, he passed away from a heart attack in 2001 while still serving his sentence at Poryong prison. This left Sugeng and Mami Rose awaiting their fate on death row. While waiting, Mami Rose spent her remaining days crafting dolls in prison. On July 16, 2008, just days before their execution, Mami Rose and her son Sugeng had a final emotional meeting at Medang prison in Sidoarjo. Overcome with grief, Mami Rose apologized to Sugeng for dragging him into the murder that sealed both their fates. As their execution date approached, Sugeng was visited by his spiritual guide, while Mami Rose received support from pastors. The fateful day came on July 19, 2008. Mami Rose, 60 years old, and her son Sugeng were led to the execution site, their heads covered with black cloth. Seated side by side, they faced 12 firing squad members, positioned 5 to 10 meters away, guns aimed at the black targets placed over their hearts. At the command, the squad fired, and the bullets ended both of their lives. Afterward, a doctor confirmed their deaths, marking the end of Mami Rose's tragic journey. With Mami Rose gone, Doly Alley, once notorious, became quieter. After Mami Rose's incarceration and eventual execution, not much has been publicly disclosed about how her daughter Wati fared. Wati, who had been the focus of much of Purwanto's obsession and was married off in an attempt to protect her, remained largely out of the spotlight. During Mami Rose's final days, Wati did maintain contact with her mother, as evidenced by her association with Ita Siti Nasia, the author who wrote extensively about Mami Rose's life and execution. Ita described being close to both Mami Rose and her children, including Wati. In fact, the proceeds from Ita's book about Mami Rose were reportedly given to Wati as a gesture of support. What's clear, though, is that the events surrounding her family, particularly the execution of her mother and brother, cast a long shadow over her life. The only surviving member of Peranto's family, Hario Abrianto, was discharged from his academy. The weight of the tragedy had left him struggling with mental illness, a heartbreaking consequence of discovering what had happened to his loved ones. Prayers for him, indeed. Neither of them wished for this tragedy, yet they've been left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. Today, not many people remember what happened in Doly Alley, but hopefully, revisiting this grim tale will remind us of the dark side of lust and greed. Let me know your thoughts on this case in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching.